Hey everybody, it's Dave back with Blockbuster Underground. So, today we are finally going to get around to reviewing James Gunn's new Superman movie. So hang tight and let's unpack it. So, yes, the movie is finally out. I did get the shirt finally too. Spencer's. Um, wow. Where do we even start with this movie? Like, this is, I hate to say it, but it's going to be divisive. There are aspects of this movie that unless you're an absolute comic book nerd, follow the stuff religiously, know all the back lore, all the deep cuts, a lot of this is going to be like right over your head, like a fucking 747. For the comic book fans, I mean, you just look at some of the reviews already. People are either loving or hating this movie. Did I love it? Did I hate it? The verdict's still kind of out. Um, the one problem I did have with this movie is it's got a whiplash pace. Like, I'm going to go into some spoilers, not everything, but just for context's sake, the movie opens with the shot from the trailer where he comes plummeting down to earth and crash lands in the snow, all beaten and bleeding. That's how crazily quick this happens. There's no origin story, thank God. We really don't need to see that again. Nor do we need to see Uncle Ben get killed, nor do we have to see Bruce Wayne's parents get killed again. But yeah, no origin story. Basically, the long and the short is this picks up. He's 3 years into being Superman, and this is the first time he's actually gotten his ass kicked. But so the whole like the preview they showed the 5 minute preview. The scene with Crypto where he's like, "What the hey, dude? You trashed the whole fortress." That plus the crash land and him whistling for Crypto and him dragging him to the fortress. That's basically the first 7 minutes of the film, right before the title card comes up. So it cuts from that. He fights the Hammer of Baravia again. Basically, what's happened is he's stepped in the middle of a war between these two factions in like Eastern Europe or someplace they don't specify. And one of the countries is has like side dealings with Lex Luthor going on, where Lex Luthor is going to get part of the country if they manage to take over this other country, and it's all over the place really. But yeah, we get one. There's one quick bit of a fight with the Hammer of Baravia. Then he fucks off. We find out it's Ultraman. Lex Luthor is using pocket dimensional portals to travel to places and imprison people, which we'll get to in a bit. Um, it's the most comic booky movie I've ever seen. I don't say that in a bad way, but it is very much like splash panels galore. And the cuts are so quick. Like there's one quick scene where they release this little baby kaiju into the streets of Metropolis, and then the next shot, almost immediately, is Superman saving that dog who's about to get squished under the kaiju foot and blowing him to safety, kind of thing. And then the Justice Gang show up, and there's the whole kaiju fight that we've seen tons of shots of in the trailer. They end up defeating the kaiju, but then while they're doing that, Lex has somehow got into the Fortress of Solitude, found a message from Jor-El to Clark, and re- re- readjusted it or tweaked it or something to basically make it look like Superman's here to take over the Earth and like impregnate all the women, repopulate our species. Um, and that's where you see all the citizens going against him, throwing the beer can at his head and shit like that. That almost gets thrown to the side. That whole thing. They have a meeting. The Justice Gang shows up, and they're like, "Mr. Terrific's like, well, that message wasn't hacked. That's legit." And that's what they said. And now Superman's got a kind of a dilemma where he's like, I thought I was here for good, and my dad's saying I should be here to conquer, and I don't want to do that. And so Crypto, when Luthor breaks into the fortress, gets kidnapped. So Superman storms in. Another scene we've seen on the talk show circuit where he's like, "Where's the dog?" Pulling a whole John Wick thing. Um, Superman then turns himself in to the American government because he's like, "I got to find Crypto. So if they capture me, maybe I can find him." So they find They put him in the pocket dimension with Metamorpho next to him, who metamorphosizes his fist into kryptonite and basically depowers Superman. So they're stuck in a cell, and there's a whole thing with his baby and other dimensions, and it's this is where even I was starting to get confused. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So, long story short, they finally escape from this interdimensional pocket prison, and Lex Luthor is about to. There's a rift happening because he overpowered the pocket dimensions, and it's like tearing a strip through the earth, and it's about to hit Metropolis, and the Justice Gang are there, and then Superman shows up, and then Ultraman shows up, and the Engineer shows up, and there's a huge, big fucking brawl. Crypto shows up and saves the day midway through, and it all winds up with them just basically arresting Lex at the end and sending him to Belle Reve, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. He goes back to the Fortress of Solitude. It's been rebuilt. The robots are back in fully functioning form after being decimated when Lex broke in, and the movie kind of just ends, and that's it. There's a couple of tag scenes that are completely inconsequential to anything really. If you do need to sit through all the credits, then go ahead. There is a Supergirl cameo. She does show up very briefly at the very end of the movie to get Crypto. Apparently, Crypto's her dog, not Superman. So I don't know. But I mean, did I hate it? No. Did I? Was it beyond? I had like, if you've been following the channel, you know I've had huge expectations for this movie coming up, more so than Fantastic Four. But did it meet up to those expectations? Sort of. I mean, Corin Sweat was really good as Superman. Rachel Brosnahan's a good Lois Lane. Nicholas Hoult was just chewing scenery the entire way through that film. Um, there are some twists. I'm not gonna mention specifics about the fight or Ultraman anymore, but there's like fucking spoilers galore online. That's comicbookmovie.com. My God, that Josh Wilding guy, he just fucking loves to spoil everything. He's like, here's the post-credit scenes. Here's who Ultraman is. Here's what happens to him. Blah 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 blah. Blah. And it's like the movie's not even out for another day and a half, dude. Like, come on, pump the brakes. Um, is it worth seeing? Yeah. It reminded me more of the Donner '70s Christopher Reeve Supermans than the dopey fucking mopey Henry Cavill. Like, oh, I'm an alien and nobody loves me. If you go back and watch Man of Steel, there's like only one scene really in that movie where he smiles, and it's when he first takes flight. And other than that, he's just got a dour look on his face the whole time. And then don't even get me started with Man of Steel. There's a lot of problems with that movie. The mass destruction, the neck snap, and all that shit. I mean, another little mini spoiler in this movie. During the kaiju fight, Superman literally saves a squirrel, a fucking squirrel, from getting squished. That's the kind of Man of Steel we're now with. Does it work? Yeah. Our average regular audience goers is really going to figure out what the hell is going on with this movie? Probably not. Um, the deep cut super fans are going to love it because there's a lot of deep cuts. And it is very much like a live action comic book, for lack of a better term. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. The color palette, the pacing of it. Like I said, this movie starts and it just doesn't stop for 2 hours. If this had been longer than like it's 2 hours 9 minutes with the credits. If this had been any longer, I think it would have just been sensory overload and people would have just checked out because there's just so much going on in any given scene, and some of it's really stupid and goofy. I mean, it's typical. It's a James Gunn movie. You know what you're getting yourself into. The same can well, you know what you're getting yourself into. Let's put it that way. Will I see it again? Yes. Will I add it to my collection when the 4K comes out? Yes. Will I be buying the Hot Toys figure? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, it's doing bonkers at the box office. It's got really good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think it's quite as good as like I didn't really know what to expect, so I can't really go in. But I had, like I said, high anticipations. Were they met? Almost. There's just it just got to be a little bit too much, and that's coming from me. So mileage may vary. Let's put it that way, depending on your audience member. Um, it's a fun way to spend 2 hours of your day in an air conditioned theater, especially with the fucking heat wave we got going on right now here in Canada. Holy shit. Could you? Is there worse? Is there worse ways you could spend 2 hours of your life? No, not really. Is it worth seeing? Yeah, I mean, Jurassic World Rebirth or Rehash, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm still mulling over whether I'm going to do a review for that one or not. But Superman, I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. But yeah, so basically, there's my 5 cents worth of admission for my thoughts on a Superman movie. Comment down below. What did you think? Did you love the movie? Did you hate it? Were you baffled by what was going on? Subscribe to the channel. We're 156 subscribers now. Heading our way to 200. Hopefully to 1,000 eventually, and then I can monetize and do this full time. Probably not. But anyway, comment down below what you think of the movie, and we'll catch you on the next video.